Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Asphalian's webinar, Signal Management Process in Veterinary Pharmacovigilance, Practical Experience. Before starting, just a couple of things to take into consideration. The webinar will last for 30 minutes. In case you have any questions, please submit them in the chat and we will reply them by email. We will also send you the presentation per email, as well as the link to the recording shortly. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today from the Pharmacovigilance Unit, Marta González, Drug Safety Manager. She has a PhD in biochemistry and molecular and cellular biology. She holds solid experience in pharmacovigilance audits, medical writing, and in overall pharmacovigilance activities. In today's webinar, she will focus on the practical experience of the signal management process in veterinary pharmacovigilance. Our colleague Alicia will talk briefly about Asphalian's safety services.
Thank you so much, Lydia, and welcome everybody to the second part of our two-series webinar, Signal Management Process in Veterinary Pharmacovigilance, that our expert, Marta González, will be hosting. Before turning over to Marta, I would like to take a few minutes to briefly introduce our work here at Asphalion. I would like to say that this year Asphalion is also turning 25, so we will have been preparing a lot of exciting activities that we will be sharing with you shortly. As you know, in Asphalion, we are a leading regulatory, scientific, and safety consulting company with the aim of helping pharmaceutical and biotech companies, supporting them through the different stages of product development, from initial stages until achieving marketing authorization approval. We are really proud to say that our experts are committed to every single project, and we deeply value each and every single one of our collaborations. Regarding pharmacovigilance activities, Asphalion acts as a one-stop shop, providing expert support through the whole product lifecycle, integrated in global context. Asphalion started providing pharmacovigilance services back in 2007. And since then, our team and capabilities have been growing to stay up to date with the latest safety regulations. Currently, we provide support to more than 80 clients in more than 160 active collaborations. We are proud to say that our pharmacovigilance system is outsourced to more than 20 companies. We act as the European QPPV for more than 10 companies. We perform literature searches for more than 250 APIs, and all these activities are performed according to the highest quality standards. Regarding veterinary vigilance activities, we can provide global support, ensuring that our clients comply with the latest European regulation. We are currently maintaining and performing vigilance activities for more than 60 veterinary products, marketed in different territories, including Europe, LATAM, or Asia. Let me also highlight that we count on veterinary experts not only in our vigilance department, but also in other units, including lifecycle management or development writing, allowing us to provide global and transversal support. Finally, in our quest for continuous improvement and excellence, we have embraced the digital transformation in pharmacovigilance, implementing artificial intelligence-based digital tools in 3 key activities: literature searches, regulatory intelligence, and social media screening. If you wish to receive further information, we will be happy to schedule a demo. And now, I will hand over to my colleague Marta, who will provide practical tips on how to perform a successful signal management. Go ahead, Marta.
Thank you very much, Alicia. First of all, I would like to welcome everybody to this webinar in which we will review the signal management process in veterinary pharmacovigilance, focusing on practical experience. Let's start with the agenda. This session is the continuation of the signal management process in veterinary pharmacovigilance key points. Therefore, we will be based on the contents previously explained, but focusing on the practical experience. We will start by doing a brief introduction and reviewing the definition of a signal and the signal management process. After that, we will talk about the frequency of signal detection, and we will move to the signal detection procedure. Finally, we will review the signal validation and assessment process, focusing on the signal notification. As you can see in this slide, the veterinary PV is supported by the following legal framework: the regulation 2019-6, the regulation 2096, the regulation 2021-1281, and also the Veterinary International Conference on Harmonization, guidance documents, and the Veterinary Good Pharmacovigilance Practices guidelines. First of all, let's remember the definition of a signal. According to the veterinary GBPs, a signal is defined as information that arises from one or multiple sources, including observations and experiments, which suggest a potentially new causal association or a new aspect of a non-causal association between an intervention and an adverse event, or a set of related adverse events that is just likely to justify further investigation of possible causality. New aspects of a known association may include changes in the frequency, distribution, duration, severity, or outcome of an adverse reaction. A signal often relates to all veterinary medicinal products containing the same active substance, including combination products. It is worth mentioning that certain signals may only be relevant for a particular veterinary medicinal product or in a specific indication, strength, pharmaceutical form, or route of administration, whereas some signals may apply to a whole class of veterinary medicinal products. It is important to remember that a signal is an hypothesis. In the process of signal detection, we look for information in order to confirm or refute that hypothesis. In case we confirm the hypothesis, we have to perform an evaluation in order to determine if the signal detected is a safety concern and decide the actions to be taken. For example, additional evaluation, changes in the SMPC, and additional minimization measures. This figure, copied from the veterinary GBPs, reflects the main steps to be followed on the signal management process. As you can see in this figure, the veterinary process consists on the following steps: signal detection, prioritization, validation, assessment, and, in case the signal assessment confirms the signal, recommendation of actions. As a result of the assessment of a signal, the marketing authorization holder should conclude whether the available evidence review supports a potential causal association or not between the veterinary medicinal product or active substance concerned and the suspected adverse event, and therefore, if this adverse event constitutes a new risk, including a new aspect of a known adverse reaction. We would like to draw a special attention to the frequency of a signal detection. According to the veterinary GBPs, all marketing authorization holders shall conduct at least one signal detection analysis per year for each of their products included in the Union Pharmacovigilance database. This obligation applies for each veterinary medicinal product for which the marketing authorization holder is responsible, but grouping will be allowed on the basis of same or similar products. This analysis should be done regardless of whether any signals were detected through the year. If no signals were detected or validated, a standard statement confirming that the signal management process has been conducted in line with the guidance in this module, and a statement confirming that the benefit-risk balance of the concerned veterinary medicinal product is unchanged will be sufficient. As we can see in this slide, in order to facilitate and coordinate the evaluation by the competent authorities, due dates for submission of the annual statement are published by the EMA. If we click on this document, an Excel file will be opened. Let's have a look at it. Here, we can see the Excel file where all the recommended due dates for submission of the annual statement are published by the EMA. For the preparation of the signal calendar, it is recommended to filter this Excel file by the anatomical, therapeutical, chemical, veterinary code of all the products under the product list of the marketing authorization holder and find which day corresponds to each ATC bit code. But why do we suggest to filter by the ATC veterinary code instead of filtering by the active substance? As we can see here in this slide, one active substance may have different ATC bit codes depending, for example, on the route of administrations. Let's see an example. Imagine that in our product list, we have colistin for oral solution for administration in drinking water. The indication of our product is the treatment of digestive infections caused by E. coli. If we search by colistin in this Excel file, we will see that the ATC bit code is QJ51XB01, which corresponds to the therapeutic class of other antibacterials for intramammary use. Therefore, this ATC bit code does not correspond to our product. In this example, the ATC bit code will be QA07, which corresponds to the therapeutic class of antidiarrheals, intestinal, anti-inflammatory, or anti-infective agents. Well, after filtering by the ATC bit code of each product under the product list of the marketing authorization holder, the recommended due date for the submission of the annual statement may be added. And finally, the annual signal detection calendar may be prepared. In this slide, there is an example of a signal detection calendar. As we can see, it includes the ATC bit code, the therapeutic class, the active substance, and the month in which the benefit and in the signal statement is to be submitted to the competent authorities. It is very important to take into account that this signal detection analysis should be performed within 2 months before the annual due date. But in case of emergency safety issues or upon request from competent authorities, signal detection will be performed ad hoc. It is also important to remind that it will be available to submit the signal detection 15 days before the due date. Let's move to the signal detection procedure. Which are the sources of information to be analyzed in a signal detection report? Here we can see the Pharmacovigilance Veterinary Data Warehouse, but there are also other sources of information. For example, the marketing authorization holder PV database data, for example, case report and clinical trials or other studies, the literature, health agencies, medicinal important terms, validated signals, and sales data. As explained in the previous webinar, it is recommended to use a combination of both quantitative and qualitative methods to analyze this data. Before explaining some of these different sources of information, it is worth mentioning that it is necessary to be registered into Pharmacovigilance Veterinary to be able to enter to the data warehouse or to the IRIS portal. In the EMA webpage, a registration manual may be found. Following the steps in this manual, everyone will be able to register into Pharmacovigilance Veterinary. Well, we have just introduced data warehouse. It is used for the signal management analysis, which is mandatory to be reviewed for all veterinary medicinal products. In this slide, we can see the user manual of data warehouse, which was last updated on the 4th of September of 2023. When logging in the EVVet data warehouse, we are prompted to homepage from EMA Business Intelligence tool. In this page, we can find the most common queries to be used. And now we are going to review each of them. Let's start with the adverse event overview. It will the first one to be analyzed. A quantitative analysis will be performed in order to detect a potential increase of incidence of cases during the review period compared to the previous one, as well as fatal cases. First of all, we will have to complete some filters. It is worth mentioning that the user manual of data warehouse includes all the instructions to complete this filter section. For example, let's imagine that we are preparing a signal detection report for gentamicin to be submitted in January 2025. Okay, so in the product information section, we will complete the active substance. For doing so, we will click on See Value and select More and Search. Another screen appears, and in this case, we will select Contains in the name field, and we will deselect the match case filter, as we can see here, okay? The match case filter is to be deselected. A list with all the active substances containing gentamicin will appear, and we will select those gentamicin names that are included in the product information of our products. In the period under review, we will select our period for revision. In this case, since the signal detection report is to be submitted in January 2025, the reporting period will be from the 1st of December of 2023 to the 30th of November of 2024. Okay, and finally, we will select both human and animal in the report filter section. Once all filters have been applied, we will go to the adverse event overview screen. This adverse event overview screen shows the results of the query, grouped in a series of charts of different kind, as well as a header including some key figures together with a filter for selecting species. It also gives an overview of all the cases reported for the active substance of the product, depending on the filter selected. Well, as a general rule, 3 cases reports are needed for signals concerning medically important VIDRA terms, or 5 case reports for signals involving any other VIDRA terms. However, flexibility should always be applied. Let's keep in mind that it is not a strict rule. Analysis will be focused on the species for which the concerned veterinary medicinal product is indicated. And the quantitative analysis is always performed at PT VIDRA level. The selected PTs will be selected for further analysis. Let's continue with the signal detection dashboard. First of all, we will select the same filters as the ones selected in the adverse event overview. Well, once all the filters have been applied, we will go to the signal detection screen, the third one. Here, we will perform an error analysis with the previously selected PTs. In this case, we will follow this general rule. PTs with error negative major than 1 or error major than 2 during the reporting period and 3 cases involving medically important terms. 5 cases involving other better terms are selected for further evaluation. But other PTs that meets ROR criteria shall also be selected. Here, it's important to consider the PTs related to a potential signal and review the cases to see if the reports include only one PT or multiple PTs. As you can see in this slide, in this signal detection screen, there are 3 different tables. Well, we will be focused in the first table, this one, where includes the number of cases between date 1 and date 2. That means that includes all the cases reported during the period under review. In this table, we are going to search the products under the product list of our marketing authorization holder. For example, Asphalion. In this case, there are no cases for which Asphalion is the marketing authorization holder. We can see it's agent, it's all, we don't see any product under the Asphalion product list. In addition, we are going to see if there are cases reported under the medicinal product short name, no reference. In this case, there are no cases either. We can see here that there are no cases reported under the no reference short name. Okay, it can be concluded in this example that no cases regarding our veterinary medicinal product have been detected in the data warehouse. But if the raw data is met, the corresponding line listing shall be obtained. In our cases, in our example, no cases related to our veterinary medicinal products have been detected. Therefore, no further analysis will be necessary. However, in case further analysis is to be performed once the filters have been applied, again, the same filters as the ones performed before, we will go to the line listing by medicinal hierarchy, overview of main AERs information, and we will filter by both our product names and no reference. Here in this screen, we'll see that we have to filter the medicinal product short name by our medicinal products and no reference. Well, as we explained before, there are several sources of information to be analyzed in a signal detection report. Apart from the data warehouse, other traditional methods such as case analysis, literature researches, and other relevant sources are to be used to confirm or to refute associations detected through statistical methods, meaning they are always necessary. After performing the signal detection process, the following steps are to be followed. Signal validation to verify that all the initial available information related to the detected potential signal contains sufficient evidence demonstrating the existence of a new potential causal association or a new aspect of a known association, and therefore justifies further analysis. And once a signal is validated, further assessment shall be performed by the marketing authorization holder. The assessment of the signal should be as comprehensive as possible in order to reach a high-quality decision and signal outcome. The assessment should include a cumulative review of all available evidence. In this cumulative review, the available pharmacological, preclinical, clinical, and epidemiological data from all sources should be reviewed as applicable in order to conclude on a potential causal association between the veterinary medicinal products and the concerned suspected adverse event. As a result of the assessment of a signal, the marketing authorization holder should conclude whether the available evidence review supports a potential causal association or not between the veterinary medicinal product or active substance concerned and the suspected adverse event. Therefore, if this adverse event constitutes a new risk, including new aspects of a known adverse reaction. If it is concluded that the safety profile of the product of active substance has changed, the need of additional risk minimization measures and any other regulatory actions should be considered, including a variation of the terms of the marketing authorization. Okay. Let's finish the webinar with the signal notification. There are two separate procedures that can be identified and that will require evaluation by the competent authority. The first procedure is the veterinary signal assessment report, following the EMA template, to report the evaluation of validated signals that require further regulatory action. This report is submitted continuously through the year by the marketing authorization holders. This includes emerging safety issues and signals where a new risk or a change to the benefit-risk balance is identified. The calculation of adverse event incidence through the dose factor is also included in this template. And the second procedure is the annual statement report, confirming that the signal management process has been conducted and confirming that the benefit-risk balance of the concerned veterinary medicinal product is unchanged. This procedure can also include the annual submission of the validated signals assessed through the year, which did not require urgent attention or did not lead to any proposals for further regulatory action. It is worth mentioning that in case no signal was detected or validated, a simple statement confirming that the signal management process has been conducted in line with the veterinary GVPs and also confirming that the benefit-risk balance of the concerned veterinary medicinal product is unchanged will be submitted. Both the veterinary signal assessment report and the annual statement report are to be submitted to IRIS. In this slide, we can see there are two guides, one explaining the registration procedure and another guide for the creation of submissions. To finalize this webinar, we are going to review an example of the annual statement submission process in case no signals were detected or validated. Okay, first of all, in the IRIS homepage, we will go to submissions and we will click on My Draft Submissions. A new screen appears and we will click on Create New Submission. The first stage, Choose Applicant Type, is highlighted in blue. Here, we will select Organization only if we are applying on behalf of an organization. The second stage, Choose Submission Type, is now colored blue. And three mandatory fields appear, labeled Organization, Location, and Submission Types. The first two, only if we are applying on behalf of an organization. We will use the search symbol to look up the submission types available. And we will click on the appropriate submission tab and then on Select. In our example, regarding submission type, we will select the annual statement submissions. The third stage is Add Managers and Contributors, where we are asked to add at least one manager in the specific field. And by clicking Continue to Submission Form, a new screen appears with a reference number. We will click on Select Authorized Products and then on Add Products to select our relevant products. It is worth mentioning that grouping of products will be allowed on the basis of same or similar products. Well, we will click on Add, and once the products are added, we will click on Save and Return. After that, we will click on Submission Details. Select the period of analysis and select the relevant statement on the tab Benefit Risk Balance. In this example, we will select I confirm that the benefit risk balance remains unchanged. Then we will click on Save and Return. On the next step, we will go to the documents for applicants, and we will add all corresponding documents by clicking on Add Fields. For each uploaded document, we will select the appropriate document type, literature data or other relevant risks identified or other information, and we will click on Save and Return. Regarding the documents from EMA, here it is not marked because it can be skipped initially as part of the creation of a new submission process, as no documents are required from the applicant. It is used to check if any documents have been made available by the EMA at a later stage. Well, finally, we will click on Declaration as Submission and click on the tick box to the left of the declaration statement that begins with the words, I confirm, to formally declare that we authorize the submission of the application. And then we will click on Submit Application to complete the submission of the annual statement. So, this is the end of this webinar. I hope you enjoy it. Please do not hesitate to contact us in case of you have any doubts. Thank you very much for attending this webinar.
Thank you, Marta, for this fantastic presentation, and thank you to all the attendees. We hope you enjoy it. And remember, you can still send your questions anytime at info@asphalion.com. Have a nice afternoon, everyone. Goodbye.